This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. With the 2024 election heating up, I mean, it's upon us. In just a few weeks, we'll be in 2024. The primaries are beginning, the caucuses, and the Republicans are going to pick their choice. It looks like inevitable that Donald Trump will be the nominee for the Republicans. This is dangerous. As we get closer, the fever pitch of emails and voicemails I get asking me, requesting a video on Project 2025 are becoming multiple times a day, and that is coming. But I want to talk because if you watch mainstream media, if you watch CNN and MSNBC or, God forbid, Fox News or Newsmax, you're witnessing a whitewashing of the danger that is to come if Donald Trump is elected president again. You're witnessing former allies, current allies of Donald Trump, former administration officials, and they're interviewed as though they are subject matter experts without any nod to the fact that they enabled Donald Trump's worst instincts at every turn while they worked for him. And now, I'm just trying to get my brain around how to talk about all this. Now, we are getting a little bit of a glimpse and an idea of who Donald Trump will put into power in his cabinet as his chief of staff to put into place his plans, to cause his plans to happen. And the plan isn't some agenda to make America better, to make America great again. The plan in this case is retribution. It is revenge. It is a personal vendetta being settled for Donald Trump, and there's a menagerie of dum-dums, sinister, calculative assholes who are going to be put in place to make this happen. Now, Axios today, I was going to talk about this, and then this article just miraculously showed up. And I hope this goes to show that some people in the media are starting to wake up and talk about and think about the most important questions that face us in America today. Here's the headline: Behind the Curtain, exclusive, how Trump would build his loyalty first cabinet. Loyalty first. Now, you see, if you look at the photo here on the front page, you'll see a couple of characters that haven't always been loyal, who have been outed based on text messages and a defamation suit with Tucker Carlson, say that he loathes Trump or he hates him with a fiery, burning passion or whatever language he used. But also J.D. Vance, who was a vocal Trump critic. And the reason he's on this list is because many of the people like him they've demonstrated they're willing to sell their souls in order to serve Donald Trump, in order to be close to, adjacent to, or possess power themselves. They're willing to do whatever it takes. I'm going to read some of this. It is pretty remarkable. In their Why It Matters section, Trump would fill the most powerful jobs in government with men like Stephen Miller, J.D. Vance of Ohio, and Kash Patel, with the possible return of Steve Bannon if Trump won in 2024. He'd turn to loyalists who share his zeal to punish critics, purge non-believers, and take controversial legal and military action. This will be a government of retribution. This will be a government of revenge. Punishing people in government, in the prior government, purging tens of thousands of government employees and replacing them with Trump loyalists, with people who will, with no regard for fact, for science, for research, for the Constitution of the United States, of no regard for any of these things, to do whatever Donald Trump says, because they want a dictatorial ruler that will put into place all of their conservative fever dreams. Who are some of these characters? Let's take a look here. For vice president, Trump talks openly to friends about several possibilities for a running mate. Table stakes for these candidates is proving you believe the 2020 election was stolen and that former Vice President Mike Pence wimped out by allowing its certification. Those who'd be considered include J.D. Vance, again, the soulless, sinister character, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Carrie Lake, Kristi Noem. This is insane. Byron Donalds, one of the few black Republicans in Congress, has traveled with Trump on the campaign and would love to be VP. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who lost her House committee assignments because she pushes baseless conspiracy theories, also gets mentioned. These are the people who are talked about. But here's the most dangerous person I believe Donald Trump has his eye on, and that is white nationalist, googly-eyed feather duster, Tucker Carlson. In fact, from reporting that Axios has done, it looks like Melania is actually endorsing Tucker to be Donald Trump's running mate. And then this is what it says. But here's an interesting twist. Melania Trump is an advocate for picking Tucker Carlson, the booted Fox News star. She thinks Carlson would make a powerful onstage extension of her husband, a source close to Trump told us. The former First Lady has made few campaign appearances this time around, but a Trump-Carlson ticket might encourage her to hit the trail. Look, a lot of people look the other way at Melania and think, oh, she's just fine. She's just an unwitting accomplice of Donald Trump. That's not the case. She pushed the racist birther conspiracy theory about President Obama. She is one of the worst of the worst. She's just pretty and quiet, so people look the other way. And if she's advocating for Tucker Carlson to be the vice president of the United States, that's a problem. He is an avowed white supremacist. He is a neo-Nazi with a bow tie. He's not some harmless character, fired or not. Some of the other people looking for power in another Trump administration, Stephen Miller could be your next attorney general. And if not that, get a cabinet-level role to greatly influence immigration policy. Stephen Miller is also one of these architect types who devises the horrible policy that will be put in place by a Trump administration. Mike Davis, Donald Trump Jr. has floated Davis, the former chief counsel for nominations, to the then Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley to be Trump's interim attorney general, saying it would be a shot across the bow of the swamp. He's dangerous because listen to some of these things he's said. If you're on Twitter, you may know who Mike Davis is. In his public auditions for the job, the bombastic Davis has promised a 3-week reign of terror in which he would put kids in cages and jail prosecutors and journalists who have gone after Trump, even telling MSNBC's Mehdi Hasan that he has, quote, his spot picked out in the DC gulag. These are the people. Donald Trump has learned from the mistakes of the first administration. He's not going to mess around with clowns who are more mainstream. He's going to be putting acting, because they're not going to pass confirmation, acting cabinet secretaries in who will put into place his agenda of revenge. This is just the way it is. Steve Bannon, in the early days of Trump's first term, he was arguably the most powerful man on staff, plotting personnel and policy decisions from his Capitol Hill townhouse. Then he was ousted and frozen out. Now, thanks to his popular podcast, of course, and pro-Trump fervency, he's back. He could be the next White House chief of staff, an idea Carlson and others, and a few others, are pushing hard with the former president. Kash Patel, I did a video about him and Steve Bannon yesterday. He could be the CIA director or the national security advisor. We're talking about a dangerous scenario. I could go on and on and on in this article. I will link this below. I recommend and suggest you read every single word of this and prepare yourself for what is to come. This isn't playing around time anymore. You need to find people in your life who are wanting to vote, who are on the fence about voting, and get them to vote. Friends and neighbors and family and colleagues, acquaintances, if you sit next to somebody at dinner, make sure they're going to go out there and vote. Because this country will fundamentally change for the worse if Donald Trump is reelected. Elected again. It's not really a re-election. Anyway, what do you think about this? I would absolutely love to know. Let's have a conversation in the comments that will spark YouTube to recommend this channel to possible new viewers. Make sure you're subscribed. That will help as well. If you want to help support my work, produce my work, click the join button below. Become a channel member for $1.99 a month. Hit the super thanks button. You can go over to my Patreon page, which would be great. Patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. Follow me on social media. You can find me at Dollemore just about everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, Threads, TikTok, Facebook, Blue Sky, all of them. I am on there at Dollemore. I'd love to see you there. I'll see you next time. Prepare yourself for the fight ahead. Be genuine. Take care of one another.